So this year's theme is equity in education, and it's really important just because we oftentimes don't talk about like the privileges that some of us might have in kind of pursuing our educations, whether that be preschool, elementary school, middle school, many of us high school, and especially once you get to the college level. But just as high schoolers, kind of recognizing the privileges that we have and how many people around the world don't have access to the same utilities, resources, even just like schooling infrastructure that we do. It's really important to acknowledge and educate ourselves on that so we can be not only better global citizens, but like contribute to communities that might be less privileged. So our project was a walk that we decided to do. It was a 5K, I believe, which is symbolic of the long distances that many people have to walk to get to school. Unfortunately, around the world there aren't access across the board to things like transportation, like buses or cars. And there often can be like environmental situations that make it very difficult for people to just get themselves physically to school. And we wanted to kind of explore that and represent that in a like very physical way by putting ourselves, of course, not in this equivalent situation, but in a similar situation.
I think like on a global level, it's about getting more people in schools and how like the quality of education differs greatly. And then more locally, like Newton, Boston, like Alyssa mentioned, we have, for example, the medical program, who by the time school gets out, it's already like 4 o'clock for us, and then they have like an hour-long commute, so that takes up a good bit of the day. And we also have a bunch of schools in the area that don't have the kind of resources we do when it comes to like coursework and extracurriculars and APs. So I think that's one of the things that I think about.
When I think of equity in education, I think of honestly the difference between the word equity and the word equality. It makes me think of like that picture with the 3 people, all different heights, standing in front, watching like a basketball game or something, and one of the pictures has them all standing on the floor, so that one picture has them all standing on the floor, the other one has them on all the same leveled heights, and the last one has them on different leveled heights depending on how tall they are, so they can all see the game. And so I think that kind of reminds me of how like not everyone has the same needs when it comes to education, and you really have to address those needs, but at the same time it's also that equality is kind of a precursor to equity, so we need that first.
I don't think about it very much, honestly, but maybe within the school, I know we have like the MECO program, different kids taking longer to get to school in the mornings and after school, because our schedule is so weird, like 9 a.m. to 3:45 is just like very strange for how late you get out too. So
well, we were inspired by the documentary, and we were trying to find an idea of how we can how we could tell people how long it takes some to access education. So we wanted to do a walk, but because of some time constraints and because of how complicated it was, we decided that's okay, we can do the walk, we can experience it, and then we can share our experience with others. So we decided to walk the 5K ourselves and share the experience.
Okay, we're at the halfway mark. How are we feeling?
we're cold. Yeah, I've got my hands in my pockets.
Very thirsty. Yeah. Do our backs hurt? Kind of.
A little bit.
We got our big backpacks over there. Okay, on we go.
Yeah, we found out that the distance from south to around like Newton Center and back was 5 kilometers, and we knew that like we wanted to get back to school at the end to kind of like debrief and everything, so that was like the most convenient for us, but also like would reflect an actual commute.
It was cold, windy.
The bags were heavy. It took about we went to the start of Lion Block, we got back 20 minutes after it ended, so like an hour, less than an hour I feel, because we went a little bit after Lion started. An hour. Yeah.
So we just finished our walk. Ignore the cars in the background.
Yeah, how do we feel?
feel?
My shoulders do hurt. My shoulders hurt.
Yeah.
It's been quite an experience.
Freezing, very cold. Yeah.
I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
this is when other kids have gone to school at this time and how we're feeling.
Yeah.
I would not feel like rejuvenated or ready for the school day anymore.
At all.
I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Until next time.
Bye. So what did we have in our backpacks?
I had a laptop, 4 folders, 4 notebooks, a pencil case, a 2-liter water bottle, a lunchbox with a thermos, a calculator, and a charger.
We had pretty much the exact same thing.
Even the folders.
Even the folders. I think it does get heavy after a while. You don't realize that.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much same things.
So how I felt during the walk was obviously tired. Like, it was a very long walk. We were carrying heavy backpacks with us. We tried to bundle up, but I had not brought a thick enough coat, and so I was cold. My hands were like freezing by the end of it, and it was definitely like it was an experience, because I know that basically all the privileges that I have access to, like being able to like buy a coat or gloves if I need those, aren't things that many people have access to. And also like the situations that we're in, being able to walk on like paved roads and like where sidewalks are, so we don't have to walk like around cars. Those are all like environmental privileges that we often don't think about, that I was kind of more aware of this time than I had been other times.
The walk really made me remember how my parents, for example, like they needed to travel far to go to school, because they had to go from one train to the next train, and then they had to walk some more to the next train, and then they were at school. So for them it wasn't as difficult, but they were going by trains, while I just sit on a bike, and I bike here in 5 minutes. So when I went on that walk, I understood how much harder it was for my parents or for others who don't have a 5-minute bike ride to their school. My parents went to school in Ukraine, and they went to school, and no one really had cars there because of how expensive they were and how much money the government was taking from all of its workers. So they were forced to take trains and walking everywhere because there wasn't any other option. My parents didn't give up on the whole idea of school, because school was always a chance for opportunity, and their parents were really enforcing their school career.